if I hear Desarli, Fresedo, or
Damare?
Damare,
Yeah.
or Valse. Valse is another good one.
Okay.
If someone cabeceos me, most likely I'll say yes. Like without even blinking.
100% guaranteed.
95.
95.
One of the things that really bothers me is when I give someone the shot and then they feel entitled to it. Like, oh, you should have danced with me a long time ago, or we're gonna dance tomorrow again, right? And I'm like, welcome back for another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot. And today we're talking about how to get dances that you think are really good dancers when maybe you're not quite at that level yet and you're just trying to break out. Maybe you're reaching your intermediate level and you're trying to break into the intermediate level dancers. So we're talking about that, just tips and tricks of things that we've done in the past that have worked for us, and maybe things that we've heard that other people have done to help them get better dancers.
I like it. The only, I guess, point that I would try to bring out is, do you think it still applies? Like, is the era now? Because you hear these advice and tips and columns back in my day this would work for me, but what if the landscape changed in the time that we started than it is now? Like, could we apply what we did for ourselves when we were first 2-3 years into tango?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think what I did still applies today, and it's something I still do when I go to places where no one really knows me, like when I go to a new city, or if I haven't been to a marathon in a long time, but I still do the same things. But I would also say, hey, you know what? Give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No harm, no foul.
Okay. So what do you do?
So, one thing I do is I try to build familiarity. I think a lot of times, I think it's more about how familiar you are with a person, and if you build good rapport with a person, rather than try to shine with your dance skills on the floor. Because sometimes I think being too flashy or being a try hard actually does the exact opposite.
No, but what if you don't know anybody? What do you mean?
Oh, if I don't know anybody?
Yeah, you can't be familiar with someone you don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just talking about this in general, locally, But outside, if I don't know anybody,
yeah.
Well, you hear the usual advice, take the prima longa class, go to the afternoon events where people are more friendly. But one thing I really do is I look to see who, I go around and I start greeting people. I say hi to people, introduce myself. Mm-hmm. And also I spend the first 15 minutes and look around to see who's greeting each other. It's because usually there's kind of a pocket of people who are very social and they all know each other. And those are the type of people I want to really get into. So I'll start introducing myself there. And if I'm in a festival setting, maybe I might have a glass of wine with me and share some wine. And be more of kind of like the party center kind of thing, kind of a person where hey, I'm easygoing, I'm very giving, grab a glass of Fernet and Coke and we're having fun. So
okay.
I think it's just part of it is the personality and persona I'm trying to portray that, I'm just fun loving.
But there's some people out there that are gonna say, I'm gonna wait till I get better because I don't want to leave a bad impression for the very good dancers when I get better, So
yeah.
It's in the moments, I'm a noob, I'm a beginner now, and I don't want to I don't want to even though they're great dancers, I don't want to leave
a bad impression.
A bad impression of
yeah,
them.
that's I felt that too. I remember. I remember this is the story that actually got me taking private and taking tango seriously. It was I danced with someone that was way out of my league. Mm-hmm. I crashed a lot because I couldn't. No, because it was at Grand Casino. That was such a hard floor to dance on.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing. I had my 3 cicadas in a row, and I did, and then I was I couldn't go in a straight line. I was zigzagging. I'm oh no! So I was crashing a lot, and and I was so embarrassed because she broke Tana with me because I kept on crashing into people. And that's when I took tango seriously and started taking privates and I had that never again attitude, always remember never again,
Never
so
again.
So yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I'm more the person who is willing to be, who's willing to make foolish mistakes and learn from it and push forward, rather than a person who is afraid
So
and
making mistakes.
yeah, because I also feel that you get into that failure to launch attitude, like like I'm never gonna I'm not gonna do it till I'm ready, and it's like really you're never gonna be ready.
Yeah, you're never gonna
You
be
know,
ready.
it's just like competition. You're never gonna be ready.
Yeah.
Just do it. You know.
I want to enter when I know I'm gonna win.
Yeah. So, you know, I think if anything, even if you mess up, if you mess up with grace and you're not, you know, and you could bounce back from it, you have an attitude where you can bounce back from it, then that works. And as some people say, even what's the saying? Even what was it, like a bad reputation, like what,
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
yeah, that's what it was. There's no such thing as bad, or even bad publicity is even good publicity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same thing. It's like, because it's better that someone knows you for being bad than not know you at all. Because I think the hardest thing with tango is being invisible.
That's true. I'll give you that. Yeah.
You
I
know.
think that if you blend into the background and no one really notices you, I think that is probably the worst part.
Yeah. So I would say just go out and fumble. It's okay to fumble. Everyone fumbles. I fumble. I still fumble. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
that's
find that as long as you have a redeeming quality, there's going to be people that give you a second chance, a third chance.
Yeah.
As long as they see some kind of potential. Like when I started out, I think a lot of people saw that potential, and I wasn't the greatest dancer, but they could see there was something that people liked. I don't know what it was, but it was just like they could feel. I don't know.
yeah. You know what? The other thing I would say, being grateful.
Being grateful.
Yeah, like sometimes you're trying to level up.
You're being appreciative.
Yeah, you're being appreciative.
Show your appreciation
Yeah,
to the
like
person that
someone gave you the chance. You're being appreciative. Just show your appreciation. Be grateful, because I think one of the things that really bothers me is when I give someone the shot and then they feel entitled to it. Like, oh, you should have danced with me a long time ago, or we're gonna dance tomorrow again, right? And I'm like. You know, like I prefer someone to be more. I mean, yeah, it's easy to say be humble because everyone's, it's a very politically correct thing to say, but I feel that being appreciative, like there are people that are beginners. I still dance with today, and I'll give them tips, I'll whatever, but. The main reason I do it is just because they're just good people. They're really appreciative. I see them working hard. They're trying.
Yeah. Show that you care.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I watched I forget which podcast it was, and they were talking about this study on what makes the popular students popular. So they did like this case study on high school students. And they wanted to know, like, all right, so what is it? Is it because they're the jock? Is it because they're like great looking? What makes some kids popular and some kids not popular? And I think the ultimate conclusion that they found out is that the people that were popular, like those looks and the things, sure it could help, but it wasn't the redeeming quality. The redeeming quality was that the more popular the students or the kids were, the more people they inevitably liked themselves.
Yeah.
And so they would ask this question, like, if you were to pick 10 people that you like the most at this school, and it was really easy for them, like, oh my gosh, there's so many people to name.
Yeah.
And so they inevitably, because they liked so many different people and they gravitated towards so many people, that's what made them popular, because they were able to show that appreciation, right? Show their likeness to other people.
Yeah.
And it's the people that are the most popular that inevitably like the most people. I mean, it's not that hard to kind of decipher, but it does make sense.
Yeah, because I think it's the one thing. It's the one thing that really grinds on me is that when people don't show that appreciation, because it's almost like I'm going out of my way to, just to give someone a shot.
Right.
And then it's almost like, why did I do that? Like it feels like a waste of energy if they're not appreciative, If they are appreciative,
How do they show appreciation?
that's a good question.
Do they butter you up? Because I
No.
actually hate that.
Oh, yeah, I do hate that.
I'm bad at taking. I got to work on that. I'm terrible at taking compliments.
You know, it's not the compliments. It's just more like even if it's a compliment, it's more like if it appears genuine. You know, there are people who butter me up, and you're like, okay, I know it came from the heart. And you know, there are other people who are like, okay, you're just feeding me a line. You know, you're feeding me a line because you want
You're
me to dance.
so awesome,
I know,
Rob.
I know.
You're so amazing.
You know, that's the thing. It's like if it feels genuine, like, and hey, I could be fooled and manipulated just like the next person, right?
Yeah.
But generally, if it feels genuine, and you know, yeah, it goes a long way. And sometimes it's like when it's not even expected. Like today, you know, these two people who were super appreciative. They're super nice, and they gave me a bottle of wine. I didn't even ask for it. I didn't even expect it. I'm like, oh,
You got
like,
bribed?
no, well,
Gifts?
Well, but the whole thing is like, okay, I've been dancing for a while. I still dance with them, but what I mean is, they're like, oh, Happy New Year. Here's a bottle of wine. You know, I mean, one, I appreciate it. Two, I wasn't expecting it.
Right.
You know, and that's just them. That's them being them. You know, so they're generally good and nice people. I feel bad now because I didn't have a gift for them, but
You're usually pretty good at giving people reciprocating the gifts.
yeah. But you know what I mean? It's just that it's something that was unexpected, and it really shows, like, there was no special day or anything. It really shows that they really thought about it. So I really appreciate that, and it also shows that they're more genuine about it, because it's one thing that's like, oh, hey, it's Rob's birthday. I better get him a gift card, or you know, it's like, oh, it's like whatever so and so event. I better do something. But when it's like just out of the blue, it just seems more genuine to me. So yeah. How about you?
So what works? What was your question?
The question is, like, you know, you don't like to be buttered up, but what can someone do to make you feel appreciated, but it doesn't go too far?
What does people do to make me feel appreciated? That's a good.
I mean, did they give you long hugs back?
That's a good one. Everyone knows that I'm a really huggy person, and I kind of like want to spread that that care for people, you know, regardless of who they are.
Or do you see them like give long hugs to other people? Because then it's like paying it forward.
Maybe.
You know, I don't know. You know, I mean,
Well, they studies have shown, like, the longer you hug somebody, like, the more dopamine is released.
Like, and oxytocin.
All those things, and like there's actually there's a good benefit for actually hugging longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually maybe. That's a good one, because I feel like it says a lot. Right, it's not hugging in like a sexual way. It's more of like a nice, warm, friendly hug, right?
Yeah.
That you just want to last.
Yeah.
Because what is tango? Like, the embrace is just like a nice. It should feel really nice, like a hug. Yes, at times, and I think that's a good one. That's an underrated one.
Okay.
I'm more of like the more subtle, indirect approach than the direct, butter you up, compliment approach.
Hey, you know,
give you a gift.
We're like we're polar opposites of this, you know. No, it's true. Like I think it'd be times like it's kind of funny when we think about it. It's like we get along so well, but also like our personalities are so polar opposites. Like I'm a results person, you're like a method person. You know, I'm a figures person, you're like a consequence
Concept person.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny, like what we gravitate towards. So I feel that if I give what I appreciate and you give what you appreciate, we kind of like fill the whole landscape of everything in between, you know?
The whole spectrum.
Yeah.
That's a good one. What else? So when you're looking out there, what works for you? For people that that aren't particular at the top of your dance card, they're not like at the top of your attraction card. What about the people out there that just, I don't know, they're not at the top tier of any of those things? What do they do that works to get to dance with you?
So a friend of mine got this advice when she went to BA, and I noticed it actually works. And the advice that she got was, don't wait for people to cabeceo you or mirada you for the cabeceo. start looking out for the people you want to dance with and like just zoom in on them. And I noticed that too. Or like sometimes I'm looking out there, and when I see that they're looking at me, it's like, oh, someone wants to dance with me. Like I don't have like there's no like they
It's a
made
two-player game.
Yeah.
The cabaseo is a two-player.
yeah like they made the decision for me already. It's like, oh, this is easy. Okay, I just want to dance, and great. I don't have to like keep on searching. It's very different if I had like a long line of people like eyeballing me, but I don't. And I'm usually trying to look out for people, and then they acknowledge my mirada, But if I look around and they're gunning for me, and it's like, okay, cool, I didn't have to think, I just wanted to dance, and so it really depends. In that instance, if it's a song, I don't want to say throwaway song, but if it's a if it's a song that's kind of that's now I don't want to say that
Any Rodriguez, Tonda.
No, I don't want to say throwaway. But no, what I want to say it isn't that I don't have a particular affinity for. Like don't take my pugliese, don't take my troilo, but anything outside of that, I'm amicable to anybody. But because I'm looking for someone specific for that pugliese. I'm looking for someone specific for that troilo merino.
I think a lot of people fail to recognize that. It's not that we are in many ways waiting to dance a specific type of genre of music with a particular person, and we're waiting for that. It's not that we don't want to dance with you. It's just that I think there's a better fit for what I believe will work well for our dancing.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people just go like, oh, he doesn't ask me, or
so unfriendly.
Yeah, that's like I'm waiting for the right Tonda. This is like not the right one.
Yeah.
I feel like that has gone by the wayside because I remember there used to be a clear like, oh, that's your Desarli person. Oh, that's your Troilo person. Oh, that's your D'Arienzo person.
Yeah.
I feel like that has gone away in the last 6 or 7 years. I rarely hear that anymore.
Yeah, I still have that. I mean, there are people that I really like dancing D'Arienzo with, and there are people I really like dancing Caló with. But I would say this, specifically for me, if you hear Desarli and you hear Fresedo, and I like both. I really do like both. But if I hear Desarli, Fresedo, or Demare, or Vals is another good one.
Okay.
If someone cabaseos me, most likely I'll say yes, like without even blinking.
100% guarantee.
95. But and the other thing is, if you could take a rejection on the chin, and what I mean is, let's just say you make the mistake that you cabaseoed me on the Pugliese Maciel, and I'm like, no, it's Pugliese Maciel,
Yeah.
And normally, I'll say something along the lines of, if you don't mind, I'd like to dance this tanda with someone else, but I'll get you back for another. I'll come back for a tanda that's more reasonable.
That's a good one. I use that often. I'm sorry, I promised this tanda for somebody. I'm looking for him right now.
Yeah. But if I'll get you on a tanda that I think fits us better.
Yeah.
And if you say okay to that, I'm more likely gonna
search for you.
Search for you when that Fresedo comes on or Rodriguez comes on or something.
Okay.
But I know some people are they're like, oh, what's wrong?
You can dance to anything.
Yeah, and I can, but it's just it's what I want. There's a difference between what I can and what I want.
Yeah.
And I think that those are two different things. And I think if people just have the empathy for me of allow me to do what I want, and then I'll come back for what I can later. That's definitely something I really appreciate. So if you can take that rejection, it's not really a true rejection, but it's kind of like a partial. It's a partial deny. It's like I'll get back to you.
I think your direct cabaseo Murata thing is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
I feel like those people that don't get dances are usually a lot of times the people that are sitting in the corner, super passive, waiting for their knight in shining armor to ride up on pony horse, horse and carriage to come grab you to take to the dance floor. And let's just face it, that's a very hard game to play.
It is.
Unless you're like, Miss Superstar.
Yeah.
That's a game that is that those people play.
Yeah. Actually, in that to support this idea even further, I would say this. Think of it this way. most guys go out there to look for a dance, right? And most of these guys are getting rejected for the first, like their first tier, second tier dances, and they might be going through a third tier. That's normal, right?
Yeah. Oh, first option's gone. Second option.
Yeah. So what guys experience a lot is rejection. They don't experience a lot of "I want you," you know.
What do you mean?
Well,
I do that a lot.
huh?
There's
What?
a particular person I'm seeking out for
No, no,
a
no,
talent
no,
that I
no,
hear.
no. Like what I'm saying is like it's very rare for a girl to really say "I want you," you know, the other way around.
Oh.
Because guys normally get rejections. They don't get
yeah.
they normally don't get appreciation. So
That's
to strengthen that argument that the mirada is very pivotal of getting dances with people that you want to dance with, it's because like think of it this way: if these guys normally take rejections, then like they get that one hint of like, oh, you know, I want to dance with you. You're like, oh, I didn't know that, or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, sure, there's those guys with like inflated egos, but that's like a small percentage.
Maybe that's why I don't take compliments well.
What?
Because we just, as a guy, we just don't get compliments.
Yeah.
We don't get compliments. So when I hear a compliment, I'm just like, oh, where's this angle? This is what BS, you know?
Yeah,
This never happens.
You know, I also like, I think it's part of the Asian culture too.
What do you mean?
Well, because part of the Asian culture is to reject compliments because it seems too egotistical. Like, for example, in Japan, if you say, "Oh, hey,
Nice ramen.
no, yeah, or your Japanese is really good. They're like, "Oh, no," you know, or your English is really good. They're like, "No, it's not good," or like, "I still have a lot to learn." They'll say something like
That's
that,
true.
right?
That's
but
true.
then,
The humility.
but then, like as an American, you say, like, you know, they say, "Hey, hey, Rob, your Japanese is really good," and they're like, I'm like, "Hey, thanks, man," and then they'll think, "Who are you, man?" You know, like this jerk is just like full of it, you know, because you're supposed to like, the culture is you're supposed to like kind of reject and downplay things,
deflect,
because you know because you're supposed to be very uniform. You're not supposed to like
Stand out.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be an individual. You know, so I think that. I don't know, for me, it's part of the Asian culture.
Yeah.
But
The nail that stands up gets hammered down.
yeah. So yeah, that's one way I like it. But yeah, but I think with guys, it's just because you know there isn't a lot of appreciation, and we went through like a serious rejection. That when we actually receive a mirada and it's really strong, it's like, oh, why, thank you. Like it's a bit of validation.
Yeah, you feel like you have been desired.
Yeah, and then I am more likely to reciprocate that.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah. I mean, it's like how many guys get asked out for a date? You know, I've never like
I don't think I've. That's very rare.
no, it's happened to me once.
I
Once
think
in my
maybe,
life.
Yeah.
Once in my
similar.
life, a girl asked me out.
So, yeah, I can't really. That's very rare.
Yeah, but like one out of what for me, you know? One.
Yeah.
So I would say like if a girl asks me out, just like if a girl asks me for a dance, as long as it's within like reasonable means, I would say yes. You know, and that's what I mean. I think the most powerful tool there is the mirada, and not necessarily the shotgun where you're just looking out for anybody and everybody, but when you zero in on that person, you're like, I want to dance with you.
Well, what about for the guys out there?
Going back to familiarity, I think it's a lot of. Well, one of the things I did that worked out for me when I was new was I avoided popular dancers.
Yeah, you did what I said in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to leave a bad impression.
Yeah, no, but I avoided popular dancers. But
That could kind of be like a kind of a death sentence because the people look at who you dance with and then they go like, oh well, how come that person's not dancing with that person and I don't want to dance with that person if they're not dancing with.
Yeah. But what I mean is like, but see, as a newbie, I need like it wasn't about good dancers; it was about floor time. So I went for good dancers that were underappreciated.
Oh.
So like there'd be the person who's like maybe the 10-year dancer that people kind of forgot because like her friends moved on to other things. You know.
Yeah.
So those are people I targeted.
Oh.
You know.
The underrated.
Yeah, and they're really really good.
Yeah.
You know. But the popular dances I would avoid were like the new like the new shiny 20-year-old. Like as a newbie, like I was totally outclassed, you know?
Yeah.
Like everybody is gunning for her, you know? So yo, like who am I? Like newbie versus world champ. You know,
yeah,
the world
yeah.
champ, the Argentine teacher, like the guys from Europe. It's like, dude, I am so outgunned, you know? And
You're
as a
just
newbie,
like, yeah, whatever.
and I'll like, okay, this is within my range, and I look for the underappreciated people, like the person who was, you know, like the 10-year dancer that, you know, for some reason is sitting out, or maybe the professional that wants to dance but everyone's afraid to dance with.
Right.
You know, that's another one that I look for, because many times there are professionals who want to dance, and you see them. They're like they're looking out there, but everyone's too afraid, and you know they know you're new, so if they accept, they accept.
Yeah, I think that in the beginning, first few years, I think it's best to pick a path and just stick with that first, right? So if you think your redeeming quality is going to be musicality, just try to be musical in all your movements and with your partner and all these kind of things. If your thing is that you want to be smooth and you want to dance with really stability, then yeah, just focus on that. If you really want to dance dynamic and super crazy fast, then maybe work on the speed and turns and these kind of things. I think if you level up one skill tree in the beginning, I think that's the way to go.
No,
Instead of
definitely.
going a broad foundation.
Yeah, because no one knows you for anything then. Like
Yeah.
you become like specialized in one thing, and then you become like, hey, that's the guy I want to dance D'Arienzo with.
Exactly.
Or that's the guy I want to, you know,
Yes,
like
yes, yes,
have that
yes.
smooth, buttery prosciutto with.
Yeah, I had the fast. Yeah, that was my thing. The fast. People like, oh, D'Arienzo, Milonga, these kind of things. That's what I think people sought me out for when I was first starting out.
Yeah, for me it was the prosciutto. Like that's what I started with. I was like I tried to be like Mr. Cozy Embrace. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I went for. That's what I went for, and like, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm a soft guy.
But yeah, yeah, we're curious to know what your path is, and what did you do any techniques to get dances when you were first starting out, and what were they? Or if you're a very experienced dancer with many years on you, what works for you? What works for people that aren't supreme super pro dancers? How do they get dances with you? If you think about it, what techniques work on you? We'd be interested to find out. But thank you all so much for watching our latest video on left foot, right foot, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, thank you for joining us for this episode of Left Foot, Right Foot. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and notification bell to keep up to us and our latest content.
Yeah, it really goes a long way. We've come a long way so far, and we really appreciate everyone's support in helping us grow this channel and all supporting our lifelong path of really getting social dancing out there and allowing other people to find their way to Argentine Tango.